Thank you for taking time out with PSOA. This week we have 10 plays for training tape week number 7. I am Sean Johnston with PSOA from Omaha, Nebraska. And there's no specific theme of this week, but we're going to try to focus on the little things that can make a big difference in games. As our weeks start winding down, games become more important, series become more important, some plays become more important. You know, it could be a difference between an 8 versus a 9 seed, hosting versus traveling, or a 1 seed versus a 2 seed, top of the bracket, bottom of the bracket. So we want to make the games as pure as possible, doing the small things as greatly as we can as we finish the season. So with no further ado, we're actually going to start with the opening part of a game where the teams come out onto the field. So we all know that the home team wears dark. Typically, the visiting team will come out first, and then the home team will come out. In this situation, we have the home team out on their sideline, and we have the visiting team coming onto the field and congregating in the middle of the field. Unfortunately, in high school football, we don't have any rules saying where players can and can't be in pregame. At other levels, it is illegal. The teams have to stay inside the numbers when they come out onto the field, but Federation, it doesn't. So if you're in a situation where the visiting team comes to the middle of the field, this is taunting, this is baiting, and potentially inciting very soon roughness, as we're going to see. So officials, they're coming out, try to meet them coming into the middle of the field, guide them back to their sideline. So the home team is not going to take offense to this and carry that emotion of inciting roughness into the opening kickoff. So yes, there is no rule, there is no flag, but preventive officiating, let's guide them to their team area to prevent. Number 74 is getting ready to want to play. Which takes us to now the opening kickoff. All right, so first off, umpires mechanically, back judges mechanically, you're going to be coming into a banana. So we're officiating offside on the free kick plane, but don't just come straight in. You want a banana into that hash mark area. On a deep kick, when that ball is caught, we should be at the 50-yard line, get set, and our eyes are between these hash marks, looking for the brick in the hand. So somebody coming upstream and looking to block an opponent. So as we play this out, there is a block. This is not a blindside block. All right. The person who got blocked sees it coming. But as officials, if we deem the contact unnecessary and excessive, that still fits into illegal personal contact and can be and should be called a personal foul against this player. All right, so not a blindside block because the blocker saw coming, but definitely unnecessary and excessive. I'm not in number 32's mind or brain, but it always seems to happen after there's some taunting, baiting, inciting emotion to the opposing team running out of the tunnel. We just have to be aware of it so we don't miss it. So as we did last week, we're going to try to talk about penalty enforcement. So the return ends at the 8:26. We have a personal foul, illegal personal contact penalty. This will be half the distance to the goal from the end of the run, all right, which is the 26-yard line. All right, so as we're communicating, umpires, you're chopping your arm. That's the signal of half the distance. And then the umpire and line judge will go to the 13. After they get to the 13, the H will go to the 13, and then we'll set the change. First down and 10 from the 8-13 yard line. Looks like position number 2 is where that run ends. So as we said earlier, training tapes, we always have to be ready to officiate from the kickoff. If there are things we could do to prevent baiting, taunting, inciting roughness, let's do it. Because if we would have guided that team to the numbers off the field a little bit quicker, maybe there wouldn't be so much emotion on this kickoff. Sticking with illegal personal contact, we got another blindside block play here. All right, then we'll talk about what makes it illegal, and then what can the blocker do to make it legal. All right, so we have a crackback outside the vision of the blocker. It's not excessive, it's not punishing, but since it's an illegal blindside block, or since it's a blindside block outside the person who's getting blocked's vision, the blocker has to have arms out, whether it's an extended arms out or initiate contact with the hands open, or they could do a flyby block, or they could literally, like a basketball screen, just stand there. But since this blocker leads with the shoulder, that's what makes this an illegal blindside block. All right, so we have to finish the play. All right, so when this runner goes out of bounds, he does not achieve the first down. He's at the 15-yard line, which is 3 yards short of the line to gain. So going back to this comment, finish the play. All right, the defensive team has a choice. It could remain 3rd down and 19 from position 1, or the defense can decline the penalty and take 4th and 3 from the B15 at position 1. So some coaches, they might take 4th and short. They like their defensive line. But don't assume that every coach is going to want the 3rd down and 19. They might want 4th and 3. Talk about don't assume. We got 1st down and 10. The clock is now running. And we're thinking the passer's just going to throw the ball to the ground, stop the clock, and, everything's good. And then baggage claim happens. The players don't do what they're supposed to do. And he clearly throws it backwards. So we released at the 20-yard line. It lands at the 21-yard line. Wing officials, all right, we want to punch this backwards as you guys have the best look at the initial direction of that thrown ball. Correctly called, this would be a backwards pass. The ball remains live, and whoever recovers it will be in possession of it inbounds with the clock running. All right, so again, we're end of the half. This is a big play. If the passer wants to spike the ball to stop the clock, they have to clearly throw it forward in front of them to stop the clock. Sticking with legal or forward or backwards pass, we're going to take a look at the line to gain here. Again, the small things make the big difference. 3rd and 3 at the 8:35. Wing officials, number 1. This is not a hard spot. All right, we want to place this ball either on the big line or 1 yard beyond the big line. Now, the difference between a hard spot and soft spot. A soft spot is we are going to find a hash mark. All right, so we're going to make it 3rd and 7, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2. We don't want to make it 3rd and 7.5 or 3rd and 2.5. Opposite, hard spot. A hard spot is when we're near over under 5 yards that will give us a first down. We will mark it 3rd and 5.5 yards because we know an encroachment now will not give the offense a first down. The other examples of hard spots is anything 10-yard lines going into the goal line, hard spot. So 8.5, 4.5, wherever that ball does reach. And then opposite side of the field. It's the 5-yard line and in. So if they're snapping at the 5 and the quarterback gets stacked at the 1.5, we want to put it at the 1.5-yard line. Small thing, that could lead to a big difference. But let this play go out. Again, it's all about the initial direction of the football. So this is clearly, the initial direction is legal forward pass. Passer has both feet behind the line of scrimmage, so that's not in question whatsoever. But going back to that hard spot, it's a lot easier to officiate a hash mark and big line for illegal forward passes. And then since this is a forward pass, once this ball hits the ground, we now have an incomplete pass. So we should have the result of the play, incomplete pass, 4th down, previous spot. And you see where this ball carrier recovers the ball, it's right near that line to gain. All right, so clearly forward pass, wipe it out when it wasn't caught, stop the clock, and it'll be 4th down from the previous spot. All right, we got 2nd and 10 at the 8:21, position number 3. We talk about getting the big fish. Let's get the big fouls. We cannot miss the big fouls. So now let's talk about areas of responsibilities. So we have the whole field covered all the time to get the big fish. All right, so we have a run to the left. The reason if calls are missed, such as this face mask, the reason it's missed is not because we're poor officials or we have bad judgment. It's because in this case, it might be we have all the officials watching the ball. We have ball watchers. So with 5 officials, we should really at this point maybe have 1 official watching the ball carrier for the spot of the forward progress. Everybody else, you have to be watching off the ball. All right, so the referee should be watching behind the ball carrier. We have the head linesman who will be watching the ball carrier for forward progress spot. Umpire, when the ball goes away, you always want to watch the backside. Watch the backside lineman, make sure nothing fishy is going on. And then line judge, you're going to have the backside of the play as well, while also knowing the status of the ball, because you could assist the H with a spot or fumble. All right, so line of scrimmage, it's one of those things where, yes, we're responsible for spotting the football, but we also are responsible for when the football goes away from us to officiate that backside. Back judge, just to get you involved, you're going to have this lead block. All right, so the block ahead of the play. So if everyone's watching their area of responsibility while knowing where the ball is in status, don't focus on the ball. Know where that ball is while watching your area of responsibility. When number 28 rips off that helmet, all right, we would have a flag. That's a big fish. All right, so now a new rule this year. Run ended behind the line of scrimmage. Foul took place ahead of the run. We're going to enforce this face mask measure from the previous spot. It will result in a 1st and 10 at the 8:31, position number 3, after enforcing the 15-yard penalty. Remember, face mask on the defense is not an automatic 1st down. All right, this one will result in a 1st down because it was 2nd and 10, and it's a 15-yard penalty. But the learning point is officiate your areas of responsibility, and we cannot miss those big fish, even if this is clearly away from the ball. Going back to the small things make a big difference. So we're going to have 3 clips here of false starts, potentially false starts. But when we make the easy fouls look good, when we have the tough decisions, people are going to build trust and rapport with the crew, and most times not even say anything because we've already shown as a crew we know what we're doing. We're under control, and we're we're making the easy fouls look really, really good. All right, so we have the right tackle here. Clearly simulates the snap prior to the snap. And we have the head linesman correctly throw his flag. The flag goes in the backfield, which now gives a signal that the foul is on the offense. And almost to that 5-yard mark, which is great. Because now that head linesman can go back to that spot of the 19-yard line, walk the 5 yards off to the 14-yard line, pick up the flag, ready to officiate. So easy foul, good flag toss. After enforcement, pick up the flag without wasting that movement. All right, so that's one false start. This should be the next false start. All right, so now we got the left tackle. All right, simulating the snap. Prior to the snap, we have one flag coming out, as there is only one official responsible for the tackle pre-snap. We know the umpire has guard, center, guard. The H has the tackle and receivers on his side. The L has the tackle and receivers on his side. And the referee has the backs in the backfield. So, again, this is an easy foul, false start. The flag's going back into the backfield, just as we did previously. And we only have one flag. We're taking care of business. So, small things that will make a big difference when there's a true judgment that needs to take place. All right, so now we're going to see the right tackle again. And I'm going to go slow motion. All right, and there's a reason I'm going to go slow motion. Motion, flinch, and play. All right, so now we're talking about a flinch. We have just a little movement prior to the snap. A flinch does not simulate the snap. All right, so as an official, you have a judgment to make. Does this flinch, does this movement simulate the snap? With no defensive reaction, err on the side as no foul for false start. Because that's really who's being put at a disadvantage when we have a false start. The defense is moving on that first movement of the ball or offensive lineman. Since that offensive lineman's flinch did not cause that defense to react, it did not simulate the start of the snap. So this is a great call by the H for not calling that flinch a false start, because it did not simulate the snap, because no defensive player reacted to that flinch, that very minuscule movement. So good no call there. Make them big. Get the big fish. All right, last week, it was windy out there. This crew was lucky. It was sunny. I believe it was a 4 o'clock kick. They're wearing short sleeves. If you go to evening games last week, you see everybody in long sleeves, thick coats, and gloves. Some crews wore short sleeves. Go for it. 2 more weeks left. Suck it up. See if we can't make it happen. With that all being said, we have wind blowing into the kicker. We're snapping at the 28-yard line. All right, it's very important, especially on a windy day. All right, if that ball is kicked and the wind blows it back, or in this case, it hits the ground and it starts bouncing back. All right, it doesn't get to the 28-yard line, but the training tape clip here is officials, remember, in high school football, if nobody touches the kick until it goes back behind the line of scrimmage, or that ball never makes it past the line of scrimmage, anybody could pick up that ball and advance it. All right, so a reminder, the only way to prevent an invert whistle is not to have the whistle in your mouth. Every single kick, legal snap, spit the whistle. And do not blow the whistle until that ball is clearly dead by rule. All right, so in this one, we have touching. Touching by the kicking team beyond the line of scrimmage does not make it dead. It is not dead yet. Actually, the receivers can pick it up, return it, and if they fumble it without fouling, they could take the first touching spot. All right, so we should have a beanbag here. Tough beanbag for the back judge. So line judge, you are the nearest to this first touching, so you would want to be throwing your bag at the line at the spot where that ball was first touched. Now we have another rule to remember and philosophy. It is legal for the kicking team to bat the ball away from the goal line. All right. It is illegal to bat the ball forward. All right. So when in doubt, we are going to call this a muff instead of a bat. And when in doubt, was that ball inbounds or out of bounds? Was that player inbounds or out of bounds? That player is out of bounds. So a couple rules to discuss, couple philosophies to remember. When in doubt, muff or bat, we're going to go with muff. When in doubt, in or out of bounds, we're going to put that ball out of bounds. All right, make a foul, make a judgment very clear, because those judgments could have an impact on the game and this late in the season, playoff implications. And we're going to finish this training tape. We talk about big plays, big moments. Fourth quarter, 1:44 left, one possession ball game, 13-21. Okay, we talked about the rule early in the training tape. This determining forward and backwards pass is the initial direction in high school football. So as we play this out, all right, we have the quarterback releasing the ball at the 31, 32, 32 and a half. And we have the defender at the 31, 32, 31 and a half when he touches it. Right. So the initial direction of this pass is the key. We need to know the original direction of the pass. We talked about the philosophy. When in doubt, it is a forward pass. So when in doubt, wipe it out, incomplete pass. We don't want any cheap turnovers. We don't want any cheap scores. Mechanically in 5-person, all right, the line of scrimmage official that will have the primary judgment is the official in which the pass is going to. So since the quarterback opened up to the H, you will have primary judgment on this. L, if you have an opinion after the play's over, give your opinion with the H and the referee together, right? And if we have it clearly backwards, sell it, punch it backwards, because now when coaches go back to that film, they not only look at the play and at our judgment, they are watching our body language. They are watching our signals. They are going to be using all the information to help solidify if they were right or solidify, oh, the official was in position. The official sold the mechanic. That was a backwards pass. I'll go with the call on the field because this is truly a 50-50 play. You know, if you're going for the white team, you're going to argue it was clearly backwards. If you're going for the red team, you're going to argue the philosophy of when in doubt, wipe it out because it was going forward. All right. As an official, use your body language, use our mechanics to sway that 50-50 judgment call. All right, so just the main things there that we wanted to talk about. Again, big moment in a big game when it comes to postseason implication. So as those stakes rise, we have to rise our level of officiating with those plays. All right, that is our training tape for week number 7. We hope that you enjoyed the training tape. I can't stress enough, those of you watching it, if you have plays in your game that you feel can be used to educate the masses, please send it in to us. You could email psoa@premiersportsofficials.com. You could comment on this video of where we could find the clip, download it, and use it. My goal next week for week 8 training, this time of year, teams have a little bit more time to start putting in trick plays, to put in special plays. So as you're working this week, if you have a double pass, if you have a numbering exception, if you have a lineman getting a backwards pass and then advancing it or throwing it, whatever trick plays coaches come up with, please let us know about it, because we really want to start finding trick plays, because if they're putting it in now and they make the playoffs, when the time arises, they're going to use it in the playoffs. And the main reason officials miss plays is we're surprised. So the more we see trick plays, the more we'll be able to process it quicker and get the judgment right, get the call right in the big moment, in the big part of the season. So make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video. Encourage others to subscribe to the channel. And throughout the week, please continue visiting the YouTube channel for the shorts that we're going to put up and some rules questions regarding penalty enforcement on scoring plays, and then some more interesting philosophy questions. Thank you once again for taking time out with PSOA. Look forward to making training tape number 8 with special and trick plays. Have a great Friday Night Lights, and officials, remember, throwing is good.